Today we are going to talk about creating your brand. Right. This is Start and Monetize podcast series of 10. We're going to walk you through step by step. When I say we, I mean me. I'm going to walk you through step by step of how to start and monetize a podcast. You can download the checklist. So you can go through it with us and then go back and refer to it as we go. Down below, there's going to be a link. So feel free to go down there and click on it, and you get a free download. Anyway, so start and monetize a podcast. Step number 2 is to create your brand. This is so important for a lot of reasons, and the consistency of your brand. Just like mine up there is Game Plan You Today. My YouTube channel is Game Plan You Today as well, and a lot of other of my digital media components are. So Game Plan You Today is the name of my podcast. I keep it there. It's pretty general in sense, but it tells people pretty much what the core of my mission is to give people a game plan with their businesses, game plan with their careers. And Game Plan You Today is just another way of just saying exactly what we're doing. You know, right here today at the moment, it is, for the most part, a daily podcast that we do across different areas, but creating that brand, it took me a little while. We started off with Sports Biz Radio. We kind of changed it around a little bit. There were some inconsistencies in it. And then once we went to a general audience of what we've really targeted to be our core clients, we changed the brand around about 1.5 years ago. So start thinking about the name of your brand. What's the name that tells the audience exactly what it is? Or it's a little bit of a play on words as well. So that name is going to be critical. So your second step is, after you figure out your theme, what is that name? And that name could be, if you're going to get into baking, so cookies by Carol, right? Exactly what it is. Or Mechanics by Mike, right? Or Playing the Field, whatever it may be, that's going to be consistent with you and who you are and your name. So anyways, think about that. Can just write down a bunch of them, maybe 5 of them, ask your friends, put it out there on Facebook, what people like the best. Put it out there on your social media channels. Like I said, give them 3 or 4 different examples of what you're looking for. And while you do that, start thinking about your graphic design, what that may look like. Now you could go get graphic design done really, really inexpensive and quick if you outsource it. Fiverr is a great platform to use. Fiverr is it's an on-demand graphic artists, transcribers, video editors. There's a bunch of things. So Fiverr is a place that I used for years with any of my logos or brands that I wanted to create. And anyway, so it's a great resource to have. Now, when you start thinking about this, and I wish I did this earlier too, go out and get a professional headshot. I spent too many times using, cutting and pasting, and you're kind of editing down a photo that you kind of like of yourself, and it just never really, it's good for some things, but when you do this, and especially we'll talk about it later, as part of your promotion of your podcast, you want some professional headshots done. If you have a phone that has a camera on and that's pretty decent, you could probably stage it where you have good lighting, a good backdrop, and it looks decent enough until you figure out that, you could go to anybody that does, portraits in town. Professional photographers cost you a couple $100, but it's so worth it, because then you can use it for everything from your LinkedIn to your website. And having a professional headshot is pretty cool. But if that's not the case, you don't have the resources to do it, just use your phone, get some good light, no shadows, make sure that you're facing a window so the light's good, or you have some other type of lighting that's nice and soft and a good clean backdrop to it as well. The other side of the other option you have is getting it cartoon style. So again, back on Fiverr, there are caricatures that you could have done. Just be creative with it. Something that's going to stand out, something that's going to make you and resonate with your audience and who you're going after. I like the cartoon style as well. I use that. in some of my, it's a caricature. I use that in some of my promotions. Just depends on what my targeted audience is. At that point, it's a little bit more sports orientated. But it's a fun thing to have, especially if you have co-hosts and you get a caricature of both of you guys behind a desk. No more than $30-$40. Usually that will, again, on Fiverr. So that's FIV, I believe it's ER.com. So you could just Google it. So it's a massive global network of freelancers, graphic designers, really, really inexpensive, easy, and safe to use, and usually gets done within a week or two, and they give you a couple options. Then the next part down is, all right, so you get your name done, you get your graphic design done, get your headshot or your branding done, and now you have to start looking at, and this is all preparation of planning out your strategy for your launch. Yes, start thinking about the rotation of your show. You're going to be daily, weekly, monthly. I would highly suggest, and wrap your head around this, when you're first starting off, go 2 to 3 a week, just to get practice in, get the reps in. You can't make it to the major leagues, by going from just being, Little League Baseball to the Major League Baseball. You have years and reps and reps and reps. So this is no different. You have to get the reps in, and you have to really practice and hone your craft. And I'll get into recording, I'll get into releasing, and making sure that you're really comfortable before you get in front of the camera or you get in front of your audience. And having a bunch of shows kind of recorded recorded first prior to releasing it. So we'll get into that strategy later, but think about the rotation. And again, you could back off it as you go, or you may want to ramp it up as you go. But when you first get out the door, you really want to have a ton of content already produced. All right. So you want to have 3, 4, or 5 shows already in the can, ready to go once you release your first show. People will lose interest right away, but they're going to want the content if they like it. And then you want to just keep on librarying your content as well. So I would highly suggest starting off with 2 shows a week, and then maybe ramping it up to 3 shows a week. And then if you can, in the beginning, try to do one every day if you can, or at least 4 or 5 times a week, just to get that audience getting him coming back. And leads me segue into being consistent. So being consistent with your brand, with your name, with your show, with the frequency of the show. So the rotation of the show, that it's happening. If you want to do Tuesdays at 6:00, this helps you later on. And we'll talk about this at another one of the next part, is going live. Going live like I am now. I'm recording it live, but I'm also going to edit it up and then re-release it as well. So the benefits of going live, compounding your content and creating layers within your content is so critical. The consistency of picking a day to go live, whether it's a Monday night or a Tuesday night at 6:00 or a lunchtime hour, this is also going to help you grow your audience down the line too. So start thinking about your strategy when you map these things out. So write down to give you a little homework, write down some names, right? Some names that you kind of like, maybe get some graphic designs, or you could do that second. Get the names that you like, throw that out there to friends and family, maybe post it on Facebook, get some feedback, get some graphic designs that you like, do the same thing. Throw a couple of examples out there on Facebook or Instagram, or get some feedback from people. Get your headshot of the cartoon style. Again, throw it out there. If you want to use Fiverr or you want to use a freelancer, or if you do it on your own, this is the strategy I would use. Just get some feedback from people that are ultimately going to be your audience. And then start thinking about the rotation of your show and the consistency of the show. I would highly recommend getting out an Excel spreadsheet and mapping out what you want to do, right? Mapping out the days, and start thinking about your schedule, when you could actually record, and start putting it into your calendar, right? Lock it in. All right. So those are the 4 or 5 steps for starting and monetizing a podcast. Part number 2, creating your brand, getting it out there into the marketplace. All the other information, this is going to be 10 days in a row. This is part 2. Subscribe to YouTube channel, Gameplaying You Today, where all the other All they're going to be consistent. They're all going to be sitting there. So, and all the other content that we have, all the other interviews that we have in Playing You today, if you're chasing a sports career, if you're a startup or just to start over in your business, this applies across industries as well. All this information that I'm sharing is going to be in Playing You today. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.